Tuperos y Tuperas, today on DOOP By The River, the Philadelphia Union dropped the game. I know it feels weird in 2020, but we're going to discuss it. And maybe it wasn't a bad loss. Maybe we'll talk about it in a second. We're also going to look ahead at the FC Cincinnati match that's upcoming in midweek Wednesday night. We're going to look at some of the storylines with the Philadelphia Union. This team's starting to look like the Eagles with all the storylines that we got here today to talk about. And don't go anywhere, guys, because you do not want to miss this episode of DOOP By The River. And let's get this started. Dale! And that is right. Welcome everyone to DOOP By The River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union, brought to you by Philly Sports Network. And before we get started, guys, please do not forget to rate and subscribe to this podcast. It would truly mean the world to us if you can rate and subscribe. All right, guys, I'm joined here today by my man. You guys know him, Mr. Tim Lovinguth. He's got the. It looks like he's got a fresh cut here today. He's got the nice groomed hair. I love it. It's a new style. My man is.
It's a little bit new. Kept the top the same, and then got a fade in the back.
There you go.
Like a Liam Jenkins almost. I don't know.
Oh, Liam, huh?
I know he hasn't been on the pod in a while, but just coming back in with the hairstyle.
He's always here in spirit. Absolutely. I love it, man. It's a definitely good look. Good stuff here, man. All right, well, Tim, let's dive right into this, man. So let's start off this episode, dude. There's some storylines with this team. This team. I mean, I don't think I remember the last time we had so many different storylines with these players, but individually. But I figured today, man, let's start off with Jose El Brujo Martinez. We've talked about this. I've talked about it extensively over the last week or two or so. So we've been monitoring Jose El Brujo Martinez and his going to Venezuela for the upcoming CONMEBOL World Cup qualifiers. At first, we didn't believe it. Him playing in Venezuela. We know our history with players playing internationally in CONMEBOL and how some of those federations don't care for the MLS. But Jose was on the radar. He got the call up. And after much thought, I guess, by the union and talking back and forth with the Federation of Venezuela, it has been decided by the Philadelphia Union that they have denied the permission for Jose El Brujo to go travel with Venezuela. We got that news from Jose El Brujo's, it's his agency. They put out the tweet, and Jose also put out his words as well. But look, I just wanted to say, you guys know I'm a proud South American soccer fan, and I understand what it means to get called up by your national team. Doesn't matter if it's Venezuela, Colombia, Brazil, Argentina. It is like one of the best honors you can have in your independent career. And this is unfortunate, but just hearing Jose El Brujo and his quotes and his tweets, he's handling this the right way, and he has every right to feel upset because he's worked so hard for this moment, and to get that call up and to just being denied. It sucks, but we're living in 2020. We all have a lot of sacrifices that we've all made personally and these athletes. And unfortunately, he's not going to be able to go. But you just got to work your butt off and keep doing what you're doing. He is playing fantastic soccer right now. There's a reason why Venezuela is keeping an eye on him. And I have full faith that he will get that call up again. Tim, what are your thoughts here on El Brujo getting denied the permission?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm gutted for him. This was a huge opportunity. It would have been his first, call up for the senior team. We've been seeing now over the last maybe half a year to a year more MLS players get called up. So I guess it's an encouraging sign to see, El Brujo be in that category. And like you said, if he keeps playing the way that he's playing, there's no reason he shouldn't get another call up. But yeah, it just seemed like from the club standpoint and the national team of Venezuela's standpoint, like I'm sure that there had to be conversations there of like, okay, like how much is he really going to factor into what's happening now? Obviously, it'd be great to have him go for the experience and to be around the national team players and to really, show the coaches what he has.
Yeah, learn from a guy like Tomas Rincon, who's really good in his position.
Yeah. Yeah, but at the same time, if it means, a lot of travel right now with COVID, and then if it means he can't really play for the Union until what would probably be closer to November, If he had left this week, he would have missed, most, if not all, of the rest of the regular season, except for maybe like the last game, and then playoffs. Like it really would have hurt Philly. And I think for the player himself, it probably is a better opportunity for him to stay and be the consistent starter that he is. I mean, he's obviously won the job for the Union, and he's helping a team compete for top of the East, and even a supporter shield if the Union can still be in that race. I know they're only a few points off it still, so maybe that is the best for him right now to keep developing, and then once things maybe get back a little bit more normal, while the World Cup qualifiers will still be rolling on, maybe he gets a call up for the next one.
Yeah, I mean the travel is really what you can't risk. You're talking about him going to Philly, to Venezuela,
Yeah,
and then Venezuela to Colombia, and then back to Venezuela. Like that, I mean, it gets pretty risky. Now, my understanding, just from talking to my family in Colombia, the COVID is not as crazy as it is here, but there are the fair amount of cases
yeah,
out there. So it's definitely, it's just not worth it. At the end of the day, it's just not worth it. I don't know how much time, like how much playing time exactly he would get from Venezuela, but I
yeah,
think the union recognized that it's just not, it's really just not worth it. It's better off him playing here, keep showcasing what he's doing, and who knows? Maybe one day he gets bought by a bigger team than us. Well, who knows? But
yeah.
we definitely feel for you, Brojito. But keep playing hard. We love what you're doing, and clearly Venezuela does too. Tim, let's move on to another quick tidbit here. So as of today, Tuesday or Monday, sorry, October 5th, Brandon Aronson has passed his physical with Red Bull Salzburg, and he is cleared to play on January. It is becoming more and more of a reality that Brandon Aronson, his days are coming to an end soon in the blue and gold, and it's just
Yeah.
it's great to see. I mean, it's great to see him, prospering and he's moving on soon. But dude, it's just a part of me. It's like, oh, it's gonna suck seeing him go. Like that's our baby.
Yeah. It really is. I mean, it's this is some huge news from Tom Bogert and MLS, saying that
Yeah.
it's already, this has happened now. He's passed his physical. He's set to sign. I mean, everything we're just kind of waiting on now the official release to come out that he is going to leave in January.
Hmm.
But no, I mean, this is what you want if you're a Union fan, or if you're the Union yourselves. Like they wanted to create this academy to bring up players to feature in the first team and help the team win, and that's what Brendan has done. He's helped the Union become a real contender in the East, and now it's his time to move on at the end of the season here. And we'll see how much he brings in for the Union as well. I mean, that's another thing. I know some people were saying, if they were watching the Toronto broadcast of the Union Toronto match, I believe that the broadcasters were saying they heard something within the range of 7 to 8 million, which is way more than I thought would be for
What?
the. It could be totally false. Who knows? But if that's the case,
Shit, I'll take
that's
six.
right. I'll take four. I was thinking three. Honestly, I was thinking the number would be 3 million for a young attacking player like Brendan
Hmm.
to go to Salzburg. But hey, if Ernst is working his magic and his connections, and he gets a little bit more, he gets an extra million, 2 extra million. Like, hey, I'll take it. And that's exactly what the Union are going to be doing now with their players. These players that come through the academy, they're going to come through. They're going to play at Union 2 at a really young age, like we're seeing this year with the teenagers, the 15, 16, 17 year olds playing there. Then they'll sign their first team contracts, hopefully play maybe a season or two, help the team win and actually compete for championships. And then they're going to go off to bigger clubs. And
This
that's
is
all you can ask for. And if you can keep investing in that, then that's huge.
sounds like a solid plan to me there, Tim.
And it does. It's actually working. It's crazy.
It 100% absolutely is. If Brandon Aronson helps us win a freaking MLS Cup and then goes on to have some European glory, my God, Sugar Man, build a freaking statue outside of the zoo for my man, Mister. And don't say Brandon Aronson on the plaque. I wanted to say Medford Messi,
Yes.
Brandon Aronson.
I mean, hey, we're forgetting. We need another one. Maybe we need a second one
Yes,
for Paxton, because
yeah.
Paxton's coming
Put them
up.
right next to each other.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We'll see. We will absolutely see. Oh man, I'm getting excited now. I'm getting excited. We're Ajax United States. I love it. I
Yeah,
love it. Well, speaking of transfers from our young homegrown players, Mark Mckenzie had some
yeah,
interesting. He's dude, some juicy stuff from him here. So on the Wikipedia on his page, Mark McKenzie. If you go on Wikipedia, I'm not sure if it's up currently right now. It is 10:30 Eastern Standard Time on Monday, October 5th. But earlier, it said on his profile that Mark McKenzie is a professional American soccer player and a defender for Celtic FC. Now, I'm assuming that's either one of our fans or a fan of Celtic wanting to put that on his profile because maybe someone knows something that we don't. But that's of course you can say like, okay, it's just some fan putting something up. But then Mark McKenzie later put out a tweet, pretty much a tweet saying patience. So maybe Mark McKenzie, it might be on his way out. Who knows? Maybe Celtic is in fact the club for him, and they're just probably working out the paperwork and all that stuff, and of course the transfer fee for Mark McKenzie. But dude, I think this is a good opportunity for him to go. I don't think this is the best. I think this is where he needs to go. I really think that he needs to go to Celtic, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, we'll see. I did just pull up Wikipedia; it is still there. So everyone who
Yes.
was tweeting it out about 2 or so hours ago, it's still there. Like you said, Mark said patience, patience, patience. So maybe that means they're in the last stages of finalizing a deal. I would assume from those signs and from what we're seeing here. I mean, obviously, it's all rumors, right? We don't have any actual reporters coming out and say anything right now. But I would assume that the union, if they are trying to get this deal done, that they're probably trying to finagle the same thing that is happening with Aronson and having Mckenzie stay with the team until the end of the season, being that Mckenzie is such an integral part of what the union do in their back line. Yeah, it would just make the most sense to have him stay. And
Yeah.
starting every game, you see what he does. Maybe the Union are trying to pull one of those there with Celtic, but we'll have to see if it ends up being a deadline day move by Celtic because I believe that their deadline day was today. I know MLS players can still move a little bit later, but I believe that the deal would have had to be completed today for Celtic. I could be wrong, but I know it was
Okay.
for most of the United Kingdom and things like that. So, yeah,
Okay, so my question is, so if we're talking about, a transfer fee around 3 to 8 million for Aronson, what are we realistically talking about for Mark McKenzie, you think?
I feel like in the national market or international markets, I should say that defenders are usually, rated lower than attacking
I would
players.
figure,
It
yeah.
just it just seems to be the case. I
It
mean,
sucks, but yeah, I
Mark
get it.
has shown that he's probably worth the same fee as Aronson just based on his work rate alone and what he's done this season and even last season because he's played more than Brendan has, a little bit at least. But yeah, I would think, if Brendan goes for maybe between 5 to 8, you see Mark go for between 2 to 4, which is still a good chunk of money that you don't usually see a Union player get sold for. So I think it's a win, and I think you're right. I think this club is a good spot for him. I can't remember where the other rumors had linked him to, and when this transfer window kind of opened, but it didn't sound like he would go in and really feature right away. I feel like if he went to Celtic, he would be thrown into the mix fairly soon. From what I've seen very little of them, obviously, over the last like year. But I know, I believe Steven Gerrard's still the coach, right? Or is that Rangers? Maybe I got that wrong.
That was Rangers. Brendan Rodgers was the manager of
Oh, okay.
Celtic.
So they still got the Liverpool connection. Okay, I see it. Reading about that right now with what they did this past weekend, losing. But
Oh, we won't talk about
but yeah, no,
that.
I think McKenzie, if he did go there, I think he would be kind of thrown right into the mix. I mean, obviously you
Yeah.
don't start someone that you just sign all the time, but
Well,
yeah,
you're right there too. To like the
yeah,
Premier League, like England and in the like that's not far from Scotland. So like those, I know those guys are always scouting in Scotland and checking out what the Scottish Premier League has. But like that's the thing. Like I see him going there, showing out, take him a couple years, and then some Premier League or even a Championship caliber team
yeah,
picks him up. That would be the ideal situation for him. For Brendan, I mean, I could see Brendan playing in Bundesliga
yeah.
after he shows what he does with Salzburg. He could be one of those German, and maybe if he is that good, then yeah, I think Premier League will become calling for him.
Yeah.
we'll see. But it's
It's a
exciting.
fun time. It's a fun time to
Yeah,
follow the
the
Union.
possibilities.
The first real batch of homegrowns that have come through that have been the people have been like saying as highly touted are now
Yeah.
about to be sold to European clubs for millions of dollars. This is exactly what you want. Yeah, from
I'm
this.
so happy though, Tim. The MLS finally found the formula. Like this to me is the best possible formula. Like, okay, it's super cool watching Wayne Rooney or Zlatan Ibrahimovic or David Beckham. So cool seeing those players here finishing their career with your club. But being able to see the future of the sport here in Philadelphia, are you kidding
Right.
me? Sign me up 110%. And it's exciting soccer. And the thing is, we're selling the future stars of Europe, and we could still win cups. Like this
Yeah.
is the best time to be a Union fan. 100%. I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
clearly excited here. Well, let's keep the excitement going, Tim. So, oh my God, Mr. Andre Blake dropping the freaking T on Union fans. So on his Instagram stories this past week, he allowed fans to ask him questions. The whole ask me something trend on Instagram. And someone asked him about Corey Burke and whether or not he would play this year, and Andre Blake said yes, he will come back and play. Now, obviously, I don't think Andre has any insight or whether or not Corey can come back. Like, let's face it, the fact of the matter is he's not here in Philly because visa issues, and no one can control that besides border between the two borders, right?
Yeah.
So I listen. Tim and I were raving about it before the air, like thinking about the possibility of having Corey Burke as that third striker coming off the bench to replace Casper or Sergio. Like that would be so awesome because Corey will get you a goal here and there. He works his ass off, and he'd be perfect as like switching him and Sergio would be perfect because I think Corey can still play as that holding type of forward. But oh man, I mean, I miss Corey, Tim. I miss seeing Corey, and the thing is, he's such a beautiful human being that sucks even more. But
Yeah.
what do you take about this juicy Instagram story of
Yeah.
Mr. Andre Blake?
My original thoughts was, oh, I wish this is true. Like, I really wish that this is true, but I don't really put too much value into what Andre is saying, unfortunately. Obviously, he could, be having conversations with Corey, and maybe, the two friends and teammates have said, some things there, and he's like, oh, yeah, like, things are progressing and I should be back soon. And then maybe that's why he said it. But at the same time, it really is the issue of the visa and the two countries talking about how that works, especially in light of COVID and everything else that's going on in America right now, with people coming in and everything. So it's just me personally, I don't know how much weight I would put on it. When I did see it, I was like, oh, I was like you, the possibilities were running through my head, like having Corey being that third striker. Um, no offense to Andrew Wooten, but if Corey Burke came back and showed that he had that spark a little bit, maybe a little bit more energy, I think he would be that third striker over Andrew Wooten right now, just for what he brings to the game. He's a little bit more scrappy. He has a little bit more speed, shown that he can score goals, in a tight pinch and everything like that as well. So, yeah, I hope that it is real. I hope we get to see Corey Burke come back and feature sometime this year, but who knows?
We can all hope and dream. We can all hope
Yeah,
and dream. All right, good stuff. Hey, man, this Philadelphia Union team bringing out these headlines.
yeah,
Lord Almighty. All right, Tim, let's move on, man. Let's. I know we don't want to talk about it. It was a rough weekend for Union fans. Saturday night. But let's talk about it. Toronto FC versus Union up in Pratt Whitney Stadium, home of UConn football, and the Philadelphia Union started off really good. 5 minutes in, Sergio Santos with a beautiful chip and goal. Like
yeah,
beautiful skill on display on that goal. And then for most of the game, most of the first half, the Union were up 1-0. They were, they always say the worst lead to have is a 1-0 lead early in the game because it's
yeah,
so easy to lose, and that was clearly what happened on that day. In the second half, Toronto FC, they turned up. They went into that second gear pretty much, and they had the momentum, they had the energy, and they brought it to the Philadelphia Union. Akinola with a nice run running past Mark Mckenzie heads the ball in, and then on another set piece, man, on a corner kick, somehow finds Alejandro Pozuelos, and it was just too much for Andre Blake to just try to save, and
Yeah.
Pozuelos just headed it in the back of the net. And the Union couldn't get any spark from Fontana or Elsinho, and we would fall in this game 2-1. This was a crucial loss. Still plenty of soccer we played in the season, but the fact of the matter, we had an opportunity of at least being tied for first place. But with that loss now, we have dropped to fourth place. But hey,
Yeah.
it's like I said, still plenty of soccer we played. You can't get too down on this team. Like I said, like this was the first Union loss we have seen since September 2nd, almost about a month. We're talking about 31 days ago, and that was against the Columbus Crew, another quality team that
Yeah.
we will have a second opportunity to beat at again. But
Yeah.
Tim, I will hand this over to you, man. What did you see? Why did we lose this game?
Yeah, this game, like you said, it was kind of back and forth. Obviously, the Union scored a really early goal, and then they kind of kept the pressure on in the first half. Toronto wasn't playing particularly well through Josie Altidore, who they were kind of playing as a lone striker with Piatti and Akinola kind of running off him as wingers. And Altidore kept dropping really deep. And that kind of progressed into the second half as well, until Josie kind of he got an injury. He hurt his hamstring again. It looked like he was running for a
I
ball,
know.
and he kind of pulled up lame there. And then right when that switch happened, they brought on Nick DeLeon, who isn't an out and out striker. So they kind of just started to overwhelm the Union on the wings and not really look to play through the center. And I think the Union weren't really ready for it. They weren't ready for the extra
He
speed.
seems to always kill us and the Red Bull, De
Yeah.
Leon.
De Leon, he didn't. So the funny thing is, he didn't play too much of a factor in this match. Um, the guy that actually also hurt the Union was another substitute that came on, Tony Gallagher, I believe I'm saying
Yeah.
it right.
Was he part of the
Back.
Liverpool system?
He was Liverpool under 23,
He
and
brought a spark.
he had the assist on the first goal, the cross that came into
That's a nice
Akinola.
one.
You know, he looked like he's been watching Andy Robertson over at Liverpool with the cross they put in. It was really good, and Mark just couldn't handle it. It was just had too much on it, and Akinola was in the right spot. Um, the second goal, though, for the Union
Mm.
was totally preventable, and this has been something we've seen is that the Union are not very good on set pieces. Sometimes players just get lost somewhere they were supposed to be, and on the corner itself, with the way the Union were set up, it looked like they had El Brujo out near at least Pozuelo, and then they had maybe one or two more people that were kind of in the mix, and Pozuelo, or excuse me, Brujo got sucked in and left Pozuelo open on the back post, and when the ball
He was
bounces,
he was
yeah,
wide. He's on an island out there.
when the ball bounces to him, he's gonna punish.
Oh, for sure, for
So
sure.
that's what happened, and then like you said, Union couldn't get anything else. Their super subs were ineffective when Toronto then dropped into another low block, like we've seen other teams do after they get a lead. Um, it's going to be really interesting to see how the Union can handle that coming closer to playoff time. And as we now see, teams will be playing 2 games in a week for most, if not the rest of the season. So yeah, it'll be really really interesting to see how the Union can handle with that, because they're going to have times where they're going to have to break teams down,
Hmm.
and who's going to be that guy that creates the spark.
Absolutely, 100%, man. Look, this was rough. I mean, losing to Toronto, I think this has become like maybe my third or fourth most hated team in the MLS. Like I don't like those guys. I really don't. I don't like Toronto sports. You hate the Raptors, and I definitely hate the Blue Jays, right? So it's rough losing to them, but we're gonna have plenty of opportunities to beat Toronto, and
Yeah,
it wouldn't pass me that we could possibly meet up with those guys in the playoffs. You learn, like you study this tape, you'll learn what you did wrong, and you move on to the next game, man. That's all it is. That's all it is.
yeah,
I really think that we'll make some adjustments and we'll find a way. We've been able to score on low blocks, and we have to stick to that. We have to stick to finding a way to how to score on these low blocks, but
yeah.
it just sucks. It's all it is. It sucks.
Yeah, and I think one thing too, we were both kind of calling for it in our preview of the match was actually for Jamiro to step up, and I think he actually did in this
Oh
match.
yeah.
Obviously, he played really well in the first half. He almost had that goal that
Yep.
was, pushed onto the crossbar that would have made it 2-0. Which when I saw that when he hit that, I jumped off my couch. Like I was like, oh, that was the moment for him. Unfortunately, it didn't go in, but he looked
Two
really
long
good.
shots from the outside.
If he can play like that for every game, like not just games like this, then this team can really be able to beat lower blocks better. He does a few things every once in a while though, where like he'll like leave a pass a little bit short or do something a little bit too fancy in the final third. That is a little bit frustrating. We saw that a few times late in the game, like he had Fontana on one instance, like making a run into the box, and he just left the pass just a little bit short and allowed the keeper to run onto it instead. Like things like that, if they can kind of clean that up a little bit, like you said, then they will be able to break teams down on the low block, and they'll be able to find those late game goals or late game ties, late game wins, things like that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right, man. Hey, we got to put that loss in the past. We got to move forward because, like you said, we're gonna have a couple double game weeks, and then so this week we have another double game week. First matchup, we're gonna face off against FC Cincinnati. Tim,
Yeah.
last time we faced off this team, it was one of the most boring games of the season for the Philadelphia Union, as it was a 0-0 draw up in Nippert Stadium. Look, I'm just gonna put this flat out, Tim. The Union need to smack FC Cincinnati.
Yeah.
After that performance we saw Saturday night against Toronto, I need these guys to come back home to the suit and put the smacking on FC Cincinnati because let's face it, they just got shellacked by Minnesota. Now, Minnesota is pretty damn good this year. Well,
Yeah.
let's not forget that aspect there. But I need this team to be the team that we know who they are. I need them to put the shellacking on FC Cincinnati. All right, that's all I gotta say, man. That's all I gotta say. Put up, like I said with the birds, put up or shut up.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, like you said, Minnesota is a good team, and their new starting striker Kai Kamara did score a goal against Cincinnati because he scores goals for every team he plays for, and he plays for every team in MLS except for Philly. So hey, that's what we need. But
That's a
for
nice squad.
the Cincinnati team and game in general, like we saw out in Nippert Stadium, the Union definitely didn't play their best game on the turf on that midweek game, and Cincinnati made it a point to really jumble up the middle of the field and then look to counter, which is their style of play now that we've seen under Stam, their coach. So I think Cincinnati will try to do that again, but like you said, the Union coming off this loss. They're facing questions now of can they beat any team that is going to be above them or near them in the Eastern Conference table. As we've seen, the top four teams in the East have been really good this year. Union are one of those teams, but they haven't been able to beat Columbus, Toronto, or even Orlando. They drew Orlando down in MLS's back. Uh,
Yeah,
so they're going to be angry, and I think their play is going to show that in a good way. I think they're going to be really fiery. They're going to come out fast, and we've seen if they start really fast against teams and get a goal, then hopefully they can kind of keep it going. I think they're going to need to get 2 goals to make this game, without a doubt, a win. So I think that's what they'll kind of shoot for. They'll shoot to get 2 goals, as quick
yeah.
as possible for them.
And Tim, I think what we just got done saying with the Toronto match. Like, I think this is the perfect opportunity to just put that whole like we can't score on low blocks away.
Yeah,
This is the perfect opportunity. You're at home. I know SCNA loves that low block, but it's not. It's not like it's hard to score on that low block.
right.
This is the opportunity here to put that nonsense away. Spread them out. Attack from wide, and let's get some headers in there, or find those open spaces when you spread them out. I
Yep.
I I really think that we are going to find a way to get this W, man. I really do.
Yeah.
What's your prediction on this match here?
My prediction is sort of what I was just saying as like the key to the match. I think the Union win this 2-0.
2-0. Okay.
I think it's going to be, a Casper Shabilko goal. I think he's due for another one. We haven't seen him score in a few games now. I know he's set up a few, but I think he's going to get a goal. And I think Brendan is going to be riding high that new contract that he's going to be signing with Salzburg, and I think he's going to get a goal as well.
A little chip on the shoulder. Hey, man, this life has changed a lot for Brendan over the last year, man.
Yeah,
We were talking about last year, early March, going to Atlanta. the big dogs down in the Benz. First start ever. He gets his first goal on his first start. And look at him now, man. He's about to
Yeah.
go play in Europe. He might play in Champions League too, guys. It is absolutely. All right, but back to this game. Look, I think we're going to get this job done. I can trust my Philadelphia Union, that's for sure. We're going to put the shellacking on them. I think the Union win this game 4-1. I think Mr. Salzburg Aronson is going to get a goal.
Okay.
I think Fontana gets back on track, and I think Casper is going to get 2 goals here in this game.
All
I
right.
got a brace for Mr. Casper here, man. I really do. I really, please get this done. Please get this done. All right, well, guys, listen. Tim and I are gotten a little creative, and we want to get you guys engaged. And listen, I'm pretty damn competitive here, so I figured, what's the best way to take out my competitiveness than to let's do some predictions, guys. So in the next 2 days, we're gonna have a lot of MLS matches. So what Tim and I are gonna do, we're gonna predict these matches, and then next time we record before our Saturday match, or sorry, our Sunday match. We will let you know the our guess our score that we did
Yeah.
on those predictions, and then at the end of the season, whoever has the best or whoever has the if sorry the loser of the predictions in their record, they will have to wear Red Bull attire, and we will put it on our Twitter account, and this is going to be all in fun. But of course, guys, like I said, I do not like to lose, and I do not like to wear anything that has to do with that energy drink company.
Yeah.
All right, so Tim, are you ready, man?
I'm ready.
No
Let's
pressure,
do
man.
this. Now once you said we were going to start doing this, I took a look at the schedule, obviously, and I took a look at the standings, and I'm like, okay, no, who's because especially like we always focus on the Union point of view and the Union's
Yeah.
teams in the Eastern Conference. We haven't really seen them play the West, so looking at some of these Western Conference teams, I'm like, oh, who's doing well, who's not doing well? Okay, yeah, I don't want to wear anything Red Bull or drink a Red Bull or do anything like that, so I don't want to lose this for sure.
Only affiliation I want with Red Bull is going to my yearly Columbia games up in Red Bull Arena. That's it. That is it. All right, Tim. So let's start it off, man. All right, so first match is actually tomorrow. We got an early one. This I guess is like the Thursday night football thing. This is Tuesday night soccer. We have Nashville SC facing off against Minnesota United. The game is in Nashville, 8:30. Who do you got in? What do you got in this game? I guess we have to put the draw too, right?
Yeah, I think Minnesota comes out and gets a win on the road. We saw what they were able to do against Cincinnati last week. Kai Kamara got off the schneid as we saw, him start for them. So I think he gets the job done there as well. I think he gets a goal, and I think Minnesota gets all 3 points.
All right, so Tim's got Minnesota winning. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Minnesota's gonna get the win as well. I know this game is in Nashville, but Minnesota, dude, they are clicking this year. And that Kai Kamara acquisition, Kai Kamara does not, in my opinion, he does not get enough love in this league. He is an absolute stud. Like, my man does not complain. He just puts his head down, works, and scores goals. What else can you ask from that guy? Absolutely. So we both got Minnesota beating Nashville. Next game here, we got Atlanta facing off against Orlando City. Tim, this used to be we used to say this wasn't a rivalry.
Right.
Now it looks like the tides have turned. Orlando is the big dog in this rivalry here. Can Atlanta get back in dominating this rivalry again? Who do you got?
Yeah, this is a huge match. Orlando is in third place right now, above the Union. They have one more point than Philly, and a win would bring them, possibly in a tie for the top of the East. Whereas where you look at Atlanta, and I know they've lost a lot of their players. They sold off pretty much all of their designated players. They brought in a few more, so Atlanta's going to buy big name players, but they're sitting in eighth place. Which is weirdly enough, in this 2020 version of MLS, a comfortable playoff spot. Uh, they're actually tied on points with the teams below them, but there's 10 playoff teams this year. So I think Atlanta is going to really need to find a way to get some kind of points out of this match, especially in a rivalry game at home against Orlando. They've shown this year that Orlando can actually win this match. But I think Atlanta's going to find a way to get a draw. I think they'll get a point in this game.
Yeah, it's definitely like it's weird seeing this Atlanta team. They're definitely like retooling essentially. And it's crazy because, like, they're going through this retooling, and yet they can still make the playoffs. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
We can't even catch a break with Atlanta, but it is what it is. I mean, DC United is reeling this year. Like, it's a mess down there. I feel for those people in DC, but that was a nice win. I think that Orlando is going to tie here. I think I see a draw going on between both these teams. It is going to be at home. I think that is going to be a draw. Wait, Tim, you said you got a draw there too?
Yeah, I
Or you
have
got
a draw as well. Yeah.
cool. We gotta disagree on one of these. All right, we'll see.
I know.
All right, so next up we got Red Bulls facing off against Inter Miami. I think these guys met up before we played Inter Miami like 2 Wednesdays ago,
Yeah.
and Red Bull put the beating on them. But this one's going to be in Red Bull Arena. You see anything different here? Or you got Red Bull doing the shellacking again.
Yeah, Red Bull's a weird team this year. We've said that we've seen that they're not really that good, but again with this weird MLS playoffs, system, they're in seventh place, which now it's used to be like the last spot, but it's like comfortable now almost for them. And playing against a team like Miami, who is what they're 7 points behind them, not in the playoffs. I know
Yeah.
Miami just got Higuain, and I think this match in Red Bull Arena is going to be where Higuain gets his first goal, and
Wow.
I think Miami's going to pull off the upset, and they're going to get a win.
Wow, you got Higuain with the New York State of mind, huh?
I mean, he has to score at some point, or he's just going to yell at everybody. Maybe that's what his MLS stint is going to be. He's just going to keep yelling at everybody and play in rain only.
That's what he does. He likes to yell at everyone there.
Yeah.
All right, this one's going to be interesting for sure. I think Miami's going to win here too. I think Red Bulls are just, although the coaches got them doing, they played a little bit better, obviously shellacking Miami, but they lost to Orlando. So I think that Miami's going to get this win here. That at some point that lineup is going to start clicking because there is quality players, even though they're a little older, but there is certainly some quality players over there.
Yeah.
All right, next matchup here, Tim. We got New England Revolution facing off against Toronto FC here, man. Oof, this was gonna be tough.
Yeah. I was, just looking at everything here, and New England. While we've seen them play the Union like what 10 times this year, and we've seen the Union come up on top for most of them, or at least get a point. Uh, for New England, the crazy stat, or at least what I think is crazy, is that they actually are only have 3 losses on the season. They have
That's
a bunch.
crazy.
They have a bunch of ties. The Union have 3 losses on the season, so they have the same amount of losses as us. They're playing Toronto, who, as we know, are probably one of, if not the hottest team in MLS right now. Up in tied for first place in the East after beating the Union. But I have New England squeaking out a home victory here. There's just something
Wow.
about the New England Revolution, and I think Matt Turner is a very good goalkeeper. I know
He is.
that people have, at MLS at least, have tried to compare him to Zach Steffen as to who should start for U.S. men's national team. It's obviously Zach Steffen. I'm not going that far, but I think Matt Turner is still good enough goalie to win games for their team in MLS, and I think he gets a win over Toronto.
Wow. Oof. That's tough, man. That's absolutely tough. Look, I mean, I just saw Toronto come back on my Philadelphia Union and get
Yeah.
the win there. I think that Toronto is going to squeak this one out. I got Toronto winning this game here. I'm just, I'm
Yeah.
still Toronto lashed per
I
local.
wouldn't be surprised if Toronto wins this by many goals, but maybe the Union fan in me is hoping that Toronto finds a
Oh,
way
of
to lose
course.
this game.
Of course. We don't want Toronto to win. Absolutely not. All right, so our next matchup here, we got Columbus facing off against Montreal, and this is another match that we are wanting a Columbus loss here. So what do you think's going to happen here, Tim?
I think Columbus wins this game easy. Like I know Thierry Henry has Montreal playing really well, but a game in Columbus with Montreal coming in Montreal just doesn't look sound defensively to me. I know they brought in Victor Wanyama to try to help like stabilize things in the midfield and possibly play defense as well. While he's been a good player for them for sure, it's not been the best. And I think Columbus finds a way to win. For Montreal, though, we'll have to see if Mason Toye makes his debut. They just traded for him from Minnesota, the young American striker.
Oh yeah, I
So
saw that.
so we'll have to see if he plays. Maybe he's good enough to get them a goal for new team bounce type of thing. But I think Columbus is going to win this handily either way.
Yeah, I didn't. I honestly couldn't believe that they gave up on him. But I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, they replenished with some veteran players, so it's tough for him to get some time. But I think that's a perfect match. Toy with Terry Henry, I think that's going to be great. But again,
yeah,
like you said, we'll see if he can play. I mean, I agree with you. I think Columbus is going to keep rolling here, and I got them getting the W here. But I feel for Terry Henry,
yeah.
so only because it was a mess in Monaco, and that truly wasn't his fault. That organization was a mess for a little bit, but he just doesn't. I feel like he doesn't have his players yet. This is his first year. We're going through COVID. It's tough, but I think that Terry can be a manager, especially in the
Yeah.
MLS. Especially in MLS. So we'll see what happens. But for right now, I think the crew are going to keep rolling. All right. So next up, oh man, I don't even know if we should be predicting this next matchup here. But we have NYCFC facing off against DC United here, man. Is this gonna be ugly?
I think so. Unfortunately for DC, I really think New York wins this pretty handedly. Um, yeah, no, DC's just they haven't
Wh-
looked good. They
What do you do if you're DC?
you start playing the kids, which is what they've been doing. You see Griffin Yao come in, and you see a few more of their younger players get some more playing time. Yeah, I don't know. Like they should have the talent. I know they were hit with some injuries, but yeah, they just I don't think they're going to get a win in this match here against New York City.
Where's just off topic a little bit? Where is their homegrown rank in the MLS? Is it like in the bottom half or the top half?
I think maybe the middle of the pack, to be honest. Like they're not the worst, but they're not the best. Obviously we've seen other clubs be, better at developing talent. I know they have a few, good young players coming up through their system. We, keep seeing that from MLS. So I would say, yeah,
It's
they're
just
in there, but they're not.
because
Yeah,
to me, Tim, like you think DC, they're in my opinion, they're on the hotbed of like
yeah,
soccer players, but Maryland is a solid soccer talent pool.
oh, yeah,
North Carolina is one of the best in the country, and DC is it's a transcendent city. There's
yeah.
going to be different ethnicities, different immigrants coming into that city. How does that homeroom academy do it? Not doing much better? I don't know, but fact of the matter is, DC sucks, and I think we can all enjoy that for a little bit. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Tim. So next matchup, we got the Texas Derby, man. I love MLS derbies. We got Houston versus Dallas. Who do you got here, man?
Dallas looks pretty good this season, and I know they were better in years past. We'd seen them last year in the playoffs. They gave
It's the
Seattle a
Fafa
run.
Pico effect.
Yeah, they they gave Seattle a run for their money last year. Right now, they're sitting in sixth place. They're coming into this Derby match. They drew a very good Columbus team, obviously the top of the East, and at that point the top of the Supporter Shield as well. Now they play Houston, who are fighting for their playoff lives. They're 2 points out of a playoff spot. Only 8 teams from the West make the playoffs, as compared to the 10 from the East. So Houston will have a lot to play for. But I got to give this one to Dallas. I think they're just the better team.
Yeah, I think this is going to be fun. It's going to come down to the wire. I'm really pulling for Tab Ramos, man. I'm really
Yeah.
pulling for Tab Ramos. I think it's gonna be a draw. I'm
Okay.
sensing draw here. We haven't predicted a draw in here in a while, so
Yeah.
I think that's fair share to be a draw there. All right, the next matchup here we have Sporting Kansas City facing off against the Chicago Fire in KC. Who you got here, man?
So yeah, these teams obviously Sporting. top, four in the West. They've been that way for the last few years. They were off to a really hot start at the beginning of the season. Alan Pulido then went down with an injury, but now he's back and he's already, factoring into their team again as well. But then when you talk about Chicago, they're like that team in limbo. You just don't know what they're really going to do. They score a lot of goals, but then they also give up a lot of goals. Shout out to Fabian Herbers, though. He keeps scoring for
Oh my God,
Chicago.
I
I mean, I
know.
love me some Fabian Herbers. I loved when he was here with the Union. I think they're going to find a way to squeak out a draw against Sporting Kansas City, and it'll be a very big point
Wow.
on the road for them in their playoff hopes. They're a point out of the playoff contention in the East. So I think it's going to be a big boost for them to get a draw against Kansas City.
Look, Chicago Fire fans to me are very underrated. I've talked to a fair share amount of them on through the internets. They are some great people, and I really want you guys to have a good soccer team. You guys have gone through a lot over the past couple of years. I think KC is going to win this game. I just think that KC is Pulido. He's feeling it right now, in my opinion, and I just got KC getting a dub there.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Colorado facing off against LAFC here. What do you got in this matchup here?
Yeah, I think first we'll really have to see if this game actually gets played. Colorado has had some positive COVID tests over
Oh
the
my
last week.
God.
Um, from right now, though, as of today, it looks like they did return to training for the first time since they had the positive test. So it looks like things are trending in the positive direction. We'll have to see, obviously, over the next 2 days because this game will be played on the 7th if this game actually happens. It is in Colorado, but I think LAFC, the way that they've been playing, the way that they've been rallying around Bradley Wright Phillips at striker.
It's
We know
crazy.
him. We know him for sure, and he's been
Absolutely.
playing out of his mind recently. LAFC right now is actually out of the top four in the West. I think they want to get back in there and show that they're a top team. So I think they're going to get the win.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. I think LAFC for the same exact reasons. It's been a weird year, as a whole. But they've been, struggling with trying to figure it out. I feel like, but I think they will get back into play, and I think they will beat Colorado here. All right, next matchup here, Tim. We have the reigning MLS Cup champs, the Seattle Sounders, facing off against RSL. This one should be entertaining, man. And a nice 10 o'clock. If you got you've been drunk after the Union game, you can watch this game. It's a great nightcap. Who do you got winning here?
Yeah, this is another interesting Western Conference battle of two teams that usually make the playoffs. Right now, the teams are trending in different directions. Seattle, of course, is at the top. They're always there. They're always around the top. They're in first place in the West outright. They have it 3 points over Portland on the top of the West. Right now, RSL only has 18 points. They're hanging on to that last playoff spot by just a point over San Jose. Uh, yeah, I think that Seattle has way too much firepower for this RSL team, and RSL has to travel over to Seattle. I think that gives the Sounders just that edge up, and I think they win the game.
I'm gonna go with the draw.
Okay.
I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna say this one's gonna be a draw here between both teams. But I get it.
Yeah.
Seattle haven't really lost a step this year. We all know that. But something tells me RSL is gonna find a way to show up in this match here. All right, let's move on to the Los Angeles Galaxy facing off against the Portland Timbers. Tim, what's gonna happen here in this game?
Yeah, another very interesting match of two teams that are normally near each other in the standings that are not near each other this year. Portland in second place, LA Galaxy in dead last in the West. It's crazy,
Crazy.
crazy, crazy. And the crazier part is that LA have actually won the last few games that they've played, which is just mind-boggling to me that they can be still in last place and have won the last few games there. I think Portland takes care of business. If they want to keep pace with Seattle, they have to beat the teams that are in the basement of their division or their conference, I should say. Thinking of football, saying division. Wow. Yeah, so I think
Just got the NFC least on his mind.
so I think Seattle gets or Portland, excuse me, gets the win there.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. You know, I had high hopes for the Galaxy. I thought Chicharito was that missing piece, but
Yeah,
yeah, I think a lot of us were wrong about that. I got Portland winning here too, man.
yeah.
It's crazy for Galaxy Nations. Definitely crazy, crazy times. All right. Last but not least, Tim, we have the San Jose Earthquakes, led by Matisse Almeida, facing off against the Vancouver Whitecaps. Man, uh, upset special or status quo?
I mean, they're both in the, out of the playoffs right now. Vancouver,
Crazy.
has two less points than San Jose. San Jose plays a really crazy style of soccer. I don't know if you've seen it. They play man marking defense
Yeah.
where like a player will, follow someone around the pitch,
He's been doing this
yeah,
since River Plate.
at times it looks brilliant and San Jose, win possession off people and then they go and they score a counter-attacking goal. Other times they get scored on 7 times. In this match against Vancouver, if San Jose really want to try to squeak into the playoffs and sneak in with their weird style of play, they're only a point off the playoff line. Then they're going to have to beat teams below them, which is Vancouver right now. Vancouver's 2 points below them. So I have San Jose winning in a weird game.
I have to agree with you. Look, I mean, I think Matisse Almeida has proven he can manage at most levels here on this side of the planet.
Yeah.
He's won in Mexico. He's won in Argentina. Those are two of the most difficult leagues on this side of the earth. I really have faith in him. I think that San Jose needs to spend a little bit more money for him, but that's a topic for another day. I agree with you. I think San Jose is going to fight and try to get a win, and they should win against a Vancouver club like this. All
Yeah.
right, awesome stuff, Tim. All right, so what we'll do before we do the predictions for the weekend games on the next episode of the podcast later this week, we will go over our how we did here, and hopefully I didn't predict too bad here because I mean we actually we agreed on a lot of these, so we'll see
Yeah.
how it looks like. But this should be fun, and we will do this at the end of every podcast. Awesome stuff here.
Yeah.
Tim, any last words here for our listeners?
No, just continue to stay safe. It's still a crazy world out
Yeah,
there.
sure.
Everybody, this pandemic still isn't over. So please continue to stay safe and social distance and wear your mask and all that fun stuff that we've been saying for months now. I know it's a crazy time in America, and some people are saying that that stuff doesn't do anything, but no, it really helps with this virus. So please keep doing what you've been doing and follow all the rules and all that fun stuff.
Wear your mask, wash your hands.
Yep.
Please. Definitely, please. All right, good stuff there. Thank you so much, Tim.
Yeah.
Guys, please do not forget to rate and subscribe to the podcast for your Philadelphia Union needs here. We got you covered here at DOOP By The River. Make sure to follow us at DOOP By The River on Twitter as well. You can also follow me and Tim on Twitter as well. That is Tim Lovinguth over there, ladies and gentlemen. I am at Barcelona Philly, and we are both telling you to dupe on. We'll talk to you later.